A man claims his home is haunted. For some time, Dan has been experiencing bizarre poltergeist-like activity in and around his home. And whenever anything strange happens, Dan hits the record button on his phone. But for some weird reason, the recordings never actually saved. And Dan has no idea why that is. One morning, when Dan walks into his kitchen, he discovers that all of his kitchen cabinets are wide open. But the strange thing is, he remembers closing them the night before. So, how were they open? Spooked by this, Dan grabs his phone and hits record.
I'm really scared right now. Just want to shut all these. I figured I'd get it on camera so if something happens, at least it's documented. Alright. I think I'm just gonna go downstairs and chill out and edit for a little while. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, f me. I gotta upload this. Before anything happens. And nobody gets to see this. Ow. Okay. I think I broke my ankle.
What makes this recording even creepier is that whenever Dan tried to record the creepy activity in the past, the recordings never saved before he had a chance to show anyone. However, this time, Dan manages to upload the footage to his YouTube channel. He desperately asked viewers to explain what was going on. Many think Dan is being haunted by a poltergeist. These paranormal entities are known for interacting with physical objects and are often thought to deliberately mess with people to feed on their fear. Perhaps that explains why the video files never saved, or perhaps were mysteriously deleted. Whatever was haunting Dan didn't want to be caught on camera and didn't want anyone to know what was going on. On May the 25th this year, Jorge Nava was driving home from work. It was late and Jorge was stuck in traffic. Jorge was alone in the car, or at least he thought he was. His dashcam, which records both the front and back of the car, captured something in the backseat that Jorge couldn't explain. He had no idea what to do and no idea what to think, so he started recording on his phone, planning to upload the clip to social media to get some answers. This is what he caught on camera.
Ver algo de susto. Una cámara se ve alguien sobre otros. Y pues no hay nadie. Y yo aquí en el carro cagándome de susto claramente.
Something can be seen in the backseat of the car, something that looks very much like a person sitting there, but Jorge shows that the backseat is completely empty and that he's the only person in the car. What's even more mysterious is that somehow, whatever this is, it only shows up on the dashcam. Jorge can't see it, and his phone camera doesn't pick it up either. When he shared the footage to his social media, some viewers immediately speculated that this is just a simple case of pareidolia, when the mind imagines shapes and faces in random patterns. But Jorge says there's nothing in his car that could create the effect of a person in the back seat. Many think that it could be the ghost of an old woman who passed away inside a car. Perhaps she haunts this stretch of road, phasing in and out of unsuspecting drivers' vehicles. But what's your verdict? Let me know. Ehab Kazmir is an urban explorer who travels to creepy abandoned buildings and haunted locations. Back in 2020, Ehab heard rumours about an abandoned house that locals said was haunted by the ghost of someone who passed away there. The house has been empty for many years, but people say they often see shadowy figures moving around through the windows. and some even claim to hear voices coming from inside. Curious, Ehab travelled to the house to find out for himself if the haunted stories were true. He begins his exploration, recording everything for his YouTube channel, and this is what he caught on camera. At first, Ehab encounters nothing but empty rooms and dark corridors. It seems like he's alone in the abandoned house, and that the stories about ghosts and hauntings had been exaggerated. But then, this happens.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
A noise startles Ehab, and then what appears to be a head seems to peek out at him, only to vanish when Ehab tries to get closer. Moments later, Ehab continues his exploration and comes across a bathroom. He takes a look inside, and then something truly horrifying happens.
Oh! Yumma! Yumma, Bismillah! Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim! Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim!
A hand can be seen in the reflection of the bathroom mirror. Viewers say it looks as if it's reaching out for Ehab. He notices it right away, but by the time he has turned around, the hand is nowhere to be seen. Not long after that, Ehab captures more creepy activity on camera.
Hayyo wallah, hayyo wallah, wallah, wahyat Allah, hayyo. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
It looks as if someone is standing right behind Ehab, peeking over his shoulder as he looks in the mirror. But when Ehab turns around, there's nothing there. He might have doubted the stories about the ghosts at first, but now he's certain that he wasn't alone in that abandoned house. Willow Hunter, a man living in the UK, recently moved into a new house with his cat, Carrie. Right from the start, Carrie was acting strange. Willow thought this was odd because he's moved houses with Carrie before, and she adapted quickly to the new surroundings. At first, Willow brushes it off as his cat's struggling to settle into her new home. He hopes that, given time, she'll calm down and go back to her old self. But after about a week in the new house, Carrie's behaviour only gets worse.
When I first moved in, she was sat on the sofa right here and she just kept looking really fast into the corridor and then like just turning back and just acting normal and then just shooting up, like jumping down onto the floor to have a look in the corridor to see what's going on. Nothing going on. And then I went to bed on the same night. She started doing it when I was in the bed with her. And then when she did it, I heard this bang right after she'd looked. And that creeped me out a bit. But now, she's just refusing to go downstairs.
As Willow says, he and Carrie would be relaxing together when she would suddenly startle at something Willow couldn't see. Now it's got to the point where Carrie refuses to go downstairs, as if she's developed a sudden fear of the ground floor. Willow tries to entice her downstairs with treats, and even resorts to carrying her down a few times, but she always shoots back upstairs as soon as she can.
Come on. Why do you not want to go downstairs, Carrie? Come on. Come on. Oh, she doesn't want to go on. She don't want to leave. Come here. Come on. Right, I'm going to carry her downstairs and see if she'll go downstairs this way. Right. There you go, Corey. There's your food.
She did come down for a taste a bit earlier, but she came down, had a little bite, and I came down. She just freaked out and ran upstairs.
Sorry. Come on. Come back down.
She's just straight back upstairs. Not interested in whatever's down here. Well, like I said, I'm not big into ghosts and stuff. Not really a big believer in that kind of stuff, but it's giving me creepy vibes.
Willow says he's skeptical of the paranormal and doesn't normally believe in ghosts, but Carrie's behaviour is starting to concern him, and he claims to be getting a creepy vibe in the house. To find out if there really is something that is scaring her downstairs, Willow installs a camera to monitor the room, and that very night, their camera captures this.
Got Corey up there, and I remember taking that picture because Corey was peeking her head around the corner. She didn't want to come downstairs, so that's Corey there. Who the f is that? Look, I only have.
Although Carrie can be seen at the top of the stairs, another cat appears to be in the kitchen. As Willow says, he only has one cat. So who is this? Willow is now sure that something abnormal is going on in his house. He's skeptical of the paranormal, but even he is struggling to come up with a logical explanation for all of this. Back in March 2026, a man in the USA received the most disturbing voicemails of his life. He had been driving home when a call started to come through on his phone. His phone was in his bag on the back seat, so he waited a few moments before pulling over. When he grabbed his phone, he saw that an unknown number had called him, but then he also noticed that his ex-wife had called him the night before. The man had been at work when she called, and when he failed to pick up, she'd left a series of voicemails. He decided to quickly listen to them before he got back in the driver's seat, and what he heard in those voicemails made him immediately call the police.
Everything that's going on. So I'm pulling up. This is from last night. Did you saw the email I sent you? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to go through these again, but I don't know if you listened to them. They're f***ing scary.
What?
That is scary. Like, that gave me chills the first few times. And I was talking to my barber today. It's at what point does she decide to do something actually crazy?
Right.
I don't know how scared I have to actually be.
So, has the state reached out to you?
No, I didn't know anything till this letter, and then the letter got to me too late, so I could never give a victim impact statement.
Okay, you can still submit that.
I will, but...
But it really sounds like you need to proceed with, like, a no contact order.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
The officer arrives and asks the man what has happened. He explains what he heard in the voicemails and tells her that he fears something is wrong with his ex-wife. As the conversation continues, it becomes clear to the officer that the man is not just trying to be vindictive against his ex-wife. He is genuinely concerned for her safety and the safety of their children. And then he plays the voicemails.
Them just because I have what you sent me and I'll submit those already, but just to put them on camera, yeah.
You heard the one of myself and help,
Yeah.
right?
So 144 was when she started leaving voicemails?
This will, I believe, have been, yes, that's the first voicemail. These previous two did not.
Okay. Okay, play the other one.
Okay, we're up to second one here. That was 145. This is 146. $47.
You marry him back, and you want everybody to know for your love. You are alive. You're alive. You're alive. You're alive.
You were with her for many years. You're positive that is her voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 47. 149.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
I hope she gets some help from this. I hope that this leads to a good resolution, because it's my kids. You know, this is their mom. It's scary. It's 150. $151. It's 152. This is 154.
The voice on the other end of the phone is horribly distorted. The man says it sounds nothing like his ex-wife, and that he has no idea what she might be saying. Since the voicemail was recorded the night before, when the man's kids were staying with his ex-wife, he can't help thinking the worst. He also says that his ex-wife had never used anything in the past, and had never been in trouble before until very recently. So he has no way to explain what's happening with her. When the footage was uploaded by the police department's official website, it quickly went viral. Viewers speculated that the man's ex-wife might have been going through a psychotic episode, but others have questioned how the ex-wife would have made her voice sound so unsettlingly non-human. For those viewers, a case of demonic possession seems more likely, which is pretty creepy. An abandoned school in rural China is said to be incredibly haunted. Years ago, a tragic event took place in the school that led to several students passing away. Not long after, the school closed down and has been left to decay ever since. An urban explorer recently heard the stories about the school being haunted and decided to take a look. On that day, after night had fallen, he brought a torch and a camera and stepped into the darkness of the entrance hall. However, he had only been inside the abandoned building for a few minutes when this happened.
很多的这点，5万人骨灰堂，
你说这里边有得多少吧，铁姐？全是啊，铁姐。哎，万人骨灰堂。操他奶奶个啥！这也是。哎，我的妈！我操！我的妈
！As the urban explorer examines some old lockers in the abandoned school, he feels something brush against his foot. Looking down, he is horrified to see a pale hand reaching out from one of the lockers. Too terrified to continue his exploration, he runs out of the building as quickly as he can and, of course, never goes back. To this day, he cannot think of any logical explanation for what happened when he was exploring that abandoned school. The only explanation that makes sense to him is that the school really is haunted, and he caught one of the ghosts on camera. But the question remains, if this really was a ghost, what did it want? Was it reaching out for help, or was it trying to grab the explorer? Speaking of haunted locations, a nurse from the United States claims that she encountered a ghost in an empty hospital ward. The nurse explains that the entire 4th floor of the hospital she works at has been closed for a long time because of plans to relocate to a new building. She and a few other staff members were working the night shift one day when a security guard asked them to come and take a look at something on the 4th floor. Knowing the 4th floor was supposed to be empty, the nurse thought that this was a strange request, but she and some co-workers went along anyway. One of her co-workers, who had worked at the hospital for longer than her, explained that the 4th floor was haunted by the ghost of an elderly woman who passed away there several years ago. The nurse was skeptical, but as soon as she and her co-workers got up to the 4th floor, they felt an unexplainable chill. Then, as they approached one of the rooms with the security guard, they noticed the lights flickering on and off. The nurse wanted to show her co-workers what was going on, so she pulled out her phone and started recording.
You need to come to 369 because we're experiencing a ghost.
Big time.
Literally.
Jeez, okay, there it goes.
Seriously, come look at this.
Now it's gonna stop. So if you know it, say hi.
Ethel?
Paul?
Ethel, what's wrong with you tonight? What? What's wrong, Ethel?
Where is the like?
The lights inside the empty hospital room are flickering, and the TV even seems to switch on by itself. But what makes this recording so creepy is that this is supposedly not an isolated incident. During the clip, some of the nurse's co-workers can be heard calling out to someone named Ethel and asking her what's wrong. It turns out the elderly woman who passed away in that very room was named Ethel, and it was just hours after she passed away that the creepy activity started happening on the 4th floor. So, did the nurse capture evidence of paranormal activity that night? Or is there another way to explain this mysterious footage? Let me know. Rachel, a mother from the United States, believes that a ghost is trying to reach out through her son. She claims that the ghost has been interacting with her son's toys, and although her son says he hasn't seen a ghost, he is aware of the strange activity that's been happening around him. In February 2025, Rachel's son had recently celebrated his birthday. A large balloon was still inflated and was tied down to a chair to stop it floating up the ceiling. However, one day, Rachel caught it floating around the house. She watched it for a while and then noticed that it came to a sudden stop in front of the open basement door. She thought this was odd, but didn't think much of it and tied it back down, only to find it floating around again an hour later. Starting to feel creeped out, she decided to record.
Oh my gosh.
be seen slowly floating through the house before stopping at the basement door. This wouldn't necessarily be scary, but this is exactly what the balloon did an hour before. According to Rachel, it followed exactly the same path and stopped in exactly the same place. Rachel couldn't figure out why the balloon always seemed to come to a sudden stop in front of the basement. But then, the next day, this happened. Unlike in the previous incidents, when Rachel's son wasn't in the room and the balloon stops in front of the basement door, the balloon can be seen going inside the basement. Rachel thinks it looks as if it's being controlled by something that wants to lead her son into the basement. Rachel has tried to rationalize these strange events to herself multiple times. At first, she tried to convince herself that there must have been a draft that was pushing the balloon towards the basement, but she can't explain why it always stops right before going inside, unless her son follows it in.
At the basement door again.
And as if that wasn't scary enough, this wasn't the last of it, because things were about to take an even creepier turn. At 9:30 PM, about half an hour after Rachel had put her son to bed, she's about to head downstairs when she spots the balloon at the foot of the stairs. And then this happens.
Babe. Quiet. Quiet.
Rather than heading towards the basement, the balloon floats up the stairs towards Rachel and towards her son's bedroom. As it reaches the top step, the light suddenly goes out and the balloon comes to a sudden halt. Rachel says that her dog started barking the moment the balloon began to move, as if they could sense something was wrong. Viewers who have been following Rachel's videos notice that the balloon even appears to walk up the stairs. This certainly could have been caused by airflow through the house, but it's still a spooky detail that makes many viewers wonder if a ghost or other paranormal entity could be manipulating the balloon. At this point, Rachel wants to pop the balloon to get rid of it, but her son insists he wants to keep it. However, the next day, when she is home alone, Rachel reaches the end of her tether as the most terrifying thing yet takes place. that looks like the top of a person's head can be seen peeking out from the top corner of the basement doorway. Rachel saw it, letting out a scream of fright, but wasn't initially sure what it was that she had seen. Rachel panics and the recording cuts off. So, if there was any doubt in her mind that something paranormal was going on in her home, she's now more certain than ever. Some viewers are skeptical, accusing Rachel of faking the video for views, but most agree with Rachel that there is something very wrong with that balloon and that something evil is lurking in her basement. Sandy is a young woman living in the USA who believes she captured a case of demonic possession on camera. Sandy regularly attends a Catholic church in Greensboro, North Carolina. The atmosphere inside is usually calm and peaceful, but one day she witnessed something that sent chills down her spine. Sandy had just walked into the church when she heard screams coming from inside. Horrified, she went to find out what was happening. She saw a man near the altar at the front of the church, hunched over and crying out as if he was in agony. Before she could get any closer to him, someone stopped her. They told her that the man was possessed and had come to the church to be exorcised. Sandy watched in horrified curiosity and shakily began to record as the exorcism began. And hisses. He then has holy water poured on him and can be seen reacting to it. After a few moments, the priest arrives and begins exorcising the demon the man is believed to be possessed by. Screams grow louder as the priest begins the exorcism. However, within minutes, the man seems to calm down. When he returned to normal, he claimed that he was possessed by a demon and that the only way he'd been able to overcome it was to go to the church and get exorcised by the priest. After witnessing the exorcism, Sandy spoke to the man and got his permission to share the footage to her social media. Viewers were struck by the rawness of the footage and especially commented on how realistic the man's screams were. But what do you think is going on here? Was this man really possessed? Drop a comment and let me know. If you were scared by demonic possessions, witches, haunted hospitals, and ghosts lurking in abandoned buildings, check out the videos on your screen for even more creepy content.